Rohan and Saima grew up together in a small town where everyone knew each other. They weren't just friends, they were more like brothers. They played cricket in the dusty streets, shared meals, and even helped each other in tough times. Their friendship was admired by everyone. And people often said, if you ever want to see true friendship, look at Rohan and Saima. Saima belonged to a well-off family. His father owned a successful business, and they lived comfortably in a large house. Rohan, on the other hand, wasn't as lucky. His father worked as a mechanic, and money was always tight. Despite their different backgrounds, their bond remained unshaken. As they grew older, Saima joined his father's business, while Rohan opened a small electronics repair shop. He worked hard, but business was slow. He barely managed to make enough money to survive. One day, Saima's family announced that his sister, Aisha, was getting married. To prepare for the wedding, Saima bought gold jewelry for her, keeping it in the locker at home. He excitedly told Rohan about it, saying, "It's a gift for my sister. She's going to love it." Rohan smiled, but deep inside, jealousy burned within him. He struggled every day to make ends meet, while Saima spent money without a second thought. That night, Rohan lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about his empty pockets. The temptation grew stronger. And that's when the idea struck him. He convinced himself that Saima had more than enough wealth, and if he took just a little, it wouldn't harm him. But Rohan wasn't just going to steal. He wanted to do it in a way that no one would ever suspect him. And so, the perfect plan began. Rohan waited for the right moment. A few days later, Saima and his family had to attend a wedding out of town. They left in the afternoon, planning to return late at night. It was the perfect opportunity. Rohan knew exactly where Saima kept the gold. He had seen him place it in the locker in his bedroom. The house had security cameras. But Rohan was smart, he had once helped Saima install them. So he knew their blind spots. At 8 p.m., when the neighborhood was quiet, Rohan sneaked into Saima's house. His hands trembled as he carefully unlocked the back door with a spare key he had secretly made months ago. His heart pounded as he entered Saima's bedroom. The locker stood in the corner, its metallic surface reflecting the dim light. Rohan pulled out a small tool from his pocket and worked on the lock. Within minutes, it clicked open. Inside, the gold jewelry glimmered under the soft glow of the night lamp. Rohan carefully took everything, wrapping it in a cloth. His breath was heavy, his body tense. He knew there was no turning back now. But Rohan wasn't just stealing. He had to make sure he wouldn't get caught. He took out his phone and dialed the police. His voice trembled as he said, "Hello, officer. My best friend Saima's house has been robbed. I just saw the front door open and got worried. Please come quickly." After hanging up, Rohan calmly walked out, locking the door behind him as if nothing had happened. He rushed home and hid the stolen gold under his bed. Minutes later, police sirens filled the street. Saima's family arrived in shock, and officers searched the house. No signs of forced entry, an officer said, puzzled. The thief knew exactly where to look. Saima was devastated. "Who could do this?" he asked, looking around helplessly. Rohan placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Don't worry, brother. We'll find out who did this." Little did Saima know, the thief was standing right beside him. The police began their investigation, questioning neighbors and searching for clues. But they found nothing, no fingerprints, no security footage, no broken locks. It was as if the thief had vanished into thin air. Days passed and Saima remained heartbroken. The gold wasn't just expensive, it held emotional value. It was a wedding gift for his beloved sister. Rohan continued to act innocent, pretending to support Saima. But something strange began happening. Saima noticed that Rohan was suddenly spending more money. He bought new clothes, ate at expensive restaurants, and even bought a brand new phone. At first, Saima ignored it. But soon, doubts started creeping into his mind. One evening, as they sat together, Saima sighed, "You know, Rohan. The police said the thief didn't break in. It feels like someone who knows me well did this. Rohan's face stiffened, but he quickly forced a smile. Maybe it was a professional thief. Let's not overthink it, brother. But Seymour wasn't convinced. Something felt off. That night, he decided to do something he had never done before. He followed Rohan. Segment 4, The Hidden Truth. Seymour trailed Rohan from a distance, careful not to be seen. After a few turns, Rohan entered a small jewelry shop. Seymour's heart pounded as he saw him pull out something wrapped in cloth. Seymour quickly took out his phone and recorded the moment. He saw Rohan handing the jewelry to the jeweler. The man inspected the pieces, then nodded and gave Rohan a bundle of cash. Seymour felt his stomach drop. His best friend, the one he trusted like a brother, had betrayed him. His hands trembled, but he held himself together. He had to stay calm. The next morning, Seymour walked into the police station. He placed his phone on the table and pressed play. The officers watched the footage, nodding. "This is enough proof," one of them said. "Let's go get him." Minutes later, the police raided Rohan's house. Under his bed, they found the remaining stolen gold. Rohan's face turned pale as the officers cuffed his hands. Seymour stood in front of him, his eyes filled with pain. "Why, Rohan? I trusted you." Rohan lowered his head. "I was desperate. I thought if I called the police first, no one would suspect me." Seymour clenched his fists. His heart was torn between anger and sorrow. The best friend he had once considered family was nothing but a thief. Or was he? As the officers prepared to take Rohan away, Seymour took a deep breath. He closed his eyes for a moment, then turned to the police. "Officer, I want to withdraw my complaint." Everyone gasped. Even Rohan looked at him in shock. "What?" Seymour nodded. "Yes, he made a mistake. But he's still my friend." The officers hesitated. "Are you sure?" Seymour stepped forward and looked Rohan in the eye. "I can lose gold, but I can't lose a friend. But you have to promise me never betray my trust again." Tears welled up in Rohan's eyes. He fell to his knees. "Seymour, I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I'm giving it to you anyway." Rohan sobbed. He realized he had lost something far more valuable than gold, Seymour's trust. From that day on, Rohan changed. He worked hard, rebuilt his shop, and never took the wrong path again. And Seymour? He learned that forgiveness could sometimes be more powerful than punishment. The stolen gold was returned. But more importantly, a broken friendship was mended. Because true friendship is not about never making mistakes. It's about having the courage to fix them.